It's been quite the few days for Arsenal fans, hasn't it? Of course, the defeat against Bournemouth wasn't ideal, dragged us into a conversation around qualifying for the Champions League next season via the league, a conversation we should never have been a part of. It's another game without a win in the league. Its inconsistencies, it brings up the problems with squad depth. The Arteta in out debate has been brought up again. If that wasn't enough, William Saliba has been heavily linked to Real Madrid, to the point of needing to have a real conversation about it, and we talked about that on the Goonerverse too. Now, I'm going to update you on all this stuff, but of course a lot of people are thinking, there's Paris to come. There's a huge night. PSG versus Arsenal. We're 1 goal behind. We lost at the Emirates. I was there. I don't know if we deserved to lose the game, but we were far from the levels that we know we're capable of. And there's a lot of noise. Now look, this is first and foremost a news channel. This is, along with the Goonerverse too, a place to sort of give you some insight and ideas as to what's kind of really going on behind the scenes, what's beyond the surface level of the news we see, whether that's via data, information, or whatever. So we will go through that, but the bigger message is, once I've updated you all, just gets brushed aside, and it's all eyes on Paris. And what a magical night that can be if Arsenal perform to a level that we've even seen from them this season, despite it being, compared to last season and the season before, pretty shambolic campaign in a lot of ways. But there's still a moment of history that could come from it. Put a pin in that, we'll get back to that. On the transfer stuff, look, Rodra and L'Equipe, supposedly a really reliable journalist covering Spanish football, and of course L'Equipe, who know their stuff when it comes to French football as well, have said that Real Madrid are going to make a serious move for William Saliba. They are willing to either pay the money this summer, to wait a year and get him when there's only a year left on his contract at a more favourable price, or even get him on a free transfer in 2 years' time. Now, they have said that William Saliba isn't keen on forcing a move, but he's going to have to be presented a project. He's going to have to be really sold if he's to even consider signing a new contract. And let's be honest, that's going to cost Arsenal a lot of money. I think it's worth it. On the flip side, Arsenal inquired, about Rodrigo, the winger who's out of favour with Real Madrid. He'll cost about 85 to 100 million, I'd imagine. Certainly that's what's being reported. And Arsenal need to add in that position. There's very few world-class players in that position, and he's certainly one of them. Add to all that more transfer noise, the links to Jamie Gittens from Dortmund. Very exciting young player. Some people think too young to make a difference. Some people think exactly the profile we need out on the wing. And then you've got the likes of Jorginho agreeing to move to Flamengo. The Zubimendi stuff keeps rumbling in the background, and I think the feeling is Andrea Berta and Arsenal are getting on with it. But yes, there is next season to worry about. I understand there's a big summer, but there is still so much to play for now. And I think this is where, along with the Arteta out debate, which I've said, and I've said this on Forever Arsenal recently, I've said it on this channel recently, we shouldn't, and I really mean this, we shouldn't be afraid to have the conversation around Mikel Arteta's future, in my opinion. I don't think there's anything wrong with contemplating and asking and wondering in a balanced way, in a fair way, is this a group of players that is too good to not give them the best in class as a manager? I think Mikel Arteta is going to be, if he isn't already, the best in class in manager. But some will look at the track record of others. And I've mentioned the 3 other semi-finalists, Hansi Flick, Simone Inzaghi, and of course Luis Enrique, who all haven't managed in the Premier League. Look what they're doing with those teams. Is that something? But the point is, just because I've asked the question, actually I haven't, just because the question's been asked, and I've said, well look, I'm not afraid to have it, I also think timing is crucial, and I don't think this is the time for it. So all that transfer stuff I updated you on, with just my brief thoughts on the Arteta in out debate there, packaged up, I want to just grab those and just move them to the side. And then we take the pin out of this, we bring that here, and it's Paris. People are flying into Paris. I know Arsenal fans right now, Cecil, Lee, Robbie, they're on their way with AFTV as we speak. The Arsenal players might well have already left for Paris, I'm not sure. Maybe they've got one more training session in London Colney. There's others, fans, who are sending their pictures of Paris, who are making their way to one of the most famous capital cities in the world, to play one of the best football teams in the world, on one of the biggest stages in the world, which is the Champions League semi-finals. Arsenal played a PSG side that have been described by many, including Graham on Tactical Insight, and I think I'd agree with a lot of this, one of the best teams I've seen at the Emirates. I mean, that performance from them, I've seen very few away teams come and look that good. Arsenal, I felt, were quite a few levels below what they were capable of. And yet, we could have won that game. I mean, by minute 75, I'm looking at it going, I don't know how we're not level, or maybe even in front here. But then at full time, I'm feeling a bit lucky it wasn't worse. Arsenal, and everyone around Arsenal, and I include the fans in this, who I've been defending, right? Whether it be the atmosphere and the noise from the fans and the belief, I've been saying that someone needs to be driven by the players and their performances. But this is the moment where it's like, put it all aside. Forget whether you're Arteta in, Arteta out. Forget whether you like the links to players. Forget whether Arteta is doing this, that, and the other. Who's coming in, who's going out. Forget all of it, because none of that can impact the group we have available right now. Not for this game against PSG. So we look at this group, they're wearing the Arsenal badge, and we support, we get behind them. And for this big night in which this season has been filled with so many disappointments, from the injuries to the refereeing decisions to, more crucially, the results and what we've seen on the pitch, there's an opportunity to make history for Arsenal. This season, despite all that, there's an opportunity to make history. And I hope the players have really internalised that. Because this is a young group. This is a young group who... Sometimes I wonder if, having not achieved these things, whether you are more hungry to, or if you're a Jorginho and, Kai Havertz, who has won the Champions League, whether actually you're the ones in the change room fueling it, going, guys, this is, you don't know what this feels like. Like, leave it all out there. And I hope the players are feeling that, despite all the noise and everything going on, they can do something. They can do something this season. And it would take something, I guess pretty spectacular to win in Paris, but we're only 1-0 down. Arsenal don't need to, the word remontada was thrown around when Real Madrid were talking about the comeback against us. And when you talk about the great comebacks, you talk about, Liverpool against Barcelona, Liverpool against AC Milan. Yes, I hate those lot down the road, but what they did in the dying 10-15 minutes against Ajax, those are the great comebacks. I don't think Arsenal need to pull off a great comeback from the position we're in now. You concede a goal or two, okay, maybe that's a different conversation. But Arsenal can do it. Arsenal can absolutely go to Paris and win. They are capable of it. But it's going to require Mikel Arteta to get spot on tactically. I have no idea what that truly looks like, okay? How can my simple footballing mind compute what's needed to beat Luis Enrique and the quality of Neves and Vitinha and all them? But, if I can offer some thoughts, I think you need to get Declan Rice in that role he was in against Real Madrid. I think you need to get the ball to Partey as quickly as possible. It needs to be recycled through the midfield and into the forward line as quick as possible. I don't think PSG have a particularly sensible... a particularly sensible setup out of possession, mid-block, but also rest defence, which, if I'm not mistaken, is when it's what you're doing defensively when you actually have the ball. So I think Arsenal can expose them in a few ways. Saka and Martinelli have the pace to hurt teams, but with Marino, Rice, Partey all on the pitch, add that Saliba, add to that Kivior, add to that Timber, you've got players who could be a threat from set pieces as well. I think with Timber, with Lewis Skelly, with Partey, with Rice, with Marino, with Saka as well, I think we need to impose ourselves physically. I think we need to bully them. The narrative coming out of the game at the Emirates was that Kvaratskhelia and Doué basically had Lewis Skelly and Timber struggling. I didn't see it that way. I saw them worked really hard. I think we were quite lucky not to give away a penalty. But actually, I think Timber and Lewis Skelly dealt with those battles well. And hopefully they take that confidence into the game in Paris. I think Partey should look at how Arsenal struggled to function in possession without him and should grow in confidence. And he's played in bigger games, let alone Real Madrid and what he's done for Atletico Madrid or whatever. I've seen him perform at Anfield. I've seen him perform at the Etihad. Big stage for Partey. Go again. Martin Odegaard. Just work your A off. And everything else will come. And it hasn't yet, but it will, because the talent's there. Declan Rice, nothing needs to be said. No one rises to the big occasion in the big game, not quite like him. And I include Bukayo Saka in that. Well, no. I include Bukayo Saka in the conversation with Rice, and that those are the two that I'm looking at going, big games, they're ready. Kivior, keep doing your thing. William Saliba, keep doing your thing. Those silly errors, whatever, they were just errors. You know, you've got Real Madrid knocking on your door now, okay? That should give you confidence, if anything. Yeah, there are rumours about whether Dembele is going to be fit. Looks like he will be. I think he's probably been training. I expect Timber and Jorginho to be available too. Those are what the rumours and reports are saying, according to Hand of Arsenal. I just think there is so much noise around Arsenal. There is so much just relentless talking about the manager, about the players. And look, I contribute to that. I completely understand that. But Tuesday, 6th of May, at the time of recording this, it's now the Champions League semi-finals. The second legs begin today. We're going to find out who awaits us in the final by the end of tonight. And if we beat PSG, then we've got a date with destiny, haven't we? So let's see. I think this team can do it. I think this team have enough steel and mental resilience to overcome PSG. But it's going to be really tough. Tactically, we need to get on top of them physically. We need to make it uncomfortable. And I think we need to go the first 20 minutes just keeping them at bay. Don't let them settle. You do that, you get a foothold in the game. So I think Arsenal are very, very good at doing. I've seen them do it at Anfield, at the Etihad. They've been able to get a foothold in the game after initial struggles. Then suddenly, you get another team who haven't won this competition before, maybe starting to worry a little bit. Arsenal, Mikel Arteta, to all the players, we can do this. Let's go to Paris. Let's try win. If we book ourselves a place in the final, if we win it, I promise you, no one will care about those other results in the league, this run-in, all that. They won't care about how quickly Liverpool won the title, because we are actually still in control of how good a season this can be, or not. So go make it happen, as Arsenal have been saying. I quite like that slogan. Of all the kind of cringe sort of motivational sentences we've thrown out there over the years, make it happen has been my favourite. And yeah, let's roll with it. Go make it happen, Arsenal. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Can we beat PSG? Are we going to do it? And what's it going to take? Who are the key players? Yeah, I've tried to not just make this some wishy-washy, I believe stuff, but I'm sort of also trying to just inject a little bit of, hey, anything can happen, right? And this is how I'm feeling a few days before. Hope you're all feeling the same. Catch you in a bit.